Security preparations are underway in the nation's capital. President Trump has ordered up to 15,000 National Guard troops to be in the city by Inauguration Day.
President Trump approved an emergency declaration for the District of Columbia to ramp up security for the inauguration. He ordered federal assistance to help the district's response efforts for 14 days with immediate effect. Washington Mayor Muriel Bowser made the request. Bowser's letter said that original plans and resources are now insufficient. She wrote, "We must prepare for large groups of trained and armed extremists to come to Washington, D.C." Bowser asked to extend National Guard support through January 24th. The National Guard confirmed its increasing troop numbers around Washington, D.C.
And we're building that up to 15,000 between now and the inauguration to make sure that we meet every requirement from each of those federal agencies to make sure that they can conduct a peaceful transfer of power of inauguration on the 20th of January.
The general said he's received requests from the Secret Police, Capitol Police, and Park Police for guardsmen to be deployed in the city. The D.C. mayor has asked that public gathering permits be canceled, and she urged Americans to avoid the city during this time. The traditionally huge ceremony has been scaled back significantly this year due to the pandemic. The committee says Washington's National Mall will be covered with almost 200,000 flags of different sizes to represent the missing crowds.
Facebook says it's removing all content with the phrase "Stop the Steal" ahead of Inauguration Day. Here are the details.
Facebook is removing all Stop the Steal content ahead of President-elect Joe Biden's inauguration. Trump supporters used the phrase to question the integrity of the election and held multiple Stop the Steal rallies since the November 3rd election. Facebook and other big tech companies are increasing efforts to police content they claim could lead to potential harm offline. The latest round started after pockets of violence marred otherwise peaceful protests at the Capitol on January 6th. Facebook says it has teams working 24/7 to enforce the policy until at least next Friday. Meanwhile, Twitter says it's removed over 70,000 accounts that promoted content related to the QAnon conspiracy theory. Twitter said, "We began permanently suspending thousands of accounts that were primarily dedicated to sharing QAnon content on Friday afternoon." The purge started the same day Twitter removed President Trump. The QAnon movement follows clues from cryptic messages posted on an anonymous board online. Twitter's explanation for removing QAnon accounts suggests it blames the movement for what happened in D.C. It used a similar explanation to banish the president. Meanwhile, Amazon is removing QAnon products from its marketplace. The company cited policies prohibiting offensive and controversial materials. Amazon drew scrutiny for allowing QAnon merchandise to be sold on its platform after eBay said the products were no longer allowed on its website. Photographs of the riots show self-described QAnon followers in the group that breached the Capitol. Amazon told the Epoch Times if people try to keep selling the products, they could get their right to sell on Amazon taken away.
Political elites around the world are condemning big tech companies. That's over their decision to ban President Trump from their social media platforms. The president has so far been banned from Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, Snapchat, Reddit, and Instagram, some permanently. German Chancellor Angela Merkel called Twitter's ban problematic and said freedom of opinion is an essential right. Members of the French government agreed. The junior minister for European Union Affairs, Clement Boon, said he was shocked a private company made this kind of decision, something he said should be decided by citizens, not a CEO. Norway's left-wing Labour Party leader added that big tech censorship threatens political freedom around the world, while Australia's acting Prime Minister Michael McCormack said he's not one who believes in that sort of censorship. Mexican President Manuel Lopez Obrador and Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny also echoed the message. One web hosting company says contrary to media reports, Parler has not contacted it for its services, but it shares Parler's concerns over big tech's monopoly of the market and digital free speech.
A web hosting and domain registrar service called Epic says Parler has not reached out to it to try and get back online. Epic said in a statement they have had no contact or discussions with Parler in any form regarding their organization becoming Parler's registrar or hosting provider. Several media reports link Epic to Parler. The social media platform is suing Amazon for taking it offline, saying it threatens extinction to Parler right when the company is experiencing explosive growth. Epic in the past took on free speech platform Gab after it was booted from other companies. Epic senior VP says he's well aware of the power of big tech. He says he's witnessed Twitter and Facebook create an undeniable double standard for both policing and enforcement. He believes big tech has too much control over public discourse due to their oversized monopolies on the digital market. Epic itself has been cut off by companies before. PayPal last year terminated Epic's account because of an apparent service risk. Epic says the decision was an abuse of power and overreach by a de facto monopoly.
Some Trump supporters and conservatives are not content with the Republican nor Democratic parties. NTD's Miguel Moreno has more on how these Americans are now looking to form a new political party.
Conservatives and Republicans are raising questions about forming a new political party. This is partly because of what happened during the joint session on January 6th, where no more than 7 Republican senators out of 50 objected to the Electoral College results of Arizona and Pennsylvania, both of which were challenged by voters and accused of being fraudulent.
I think for many of us, the fact that there's been so little support for Donald Trump from even the Republican Party, elected officials throughout most of his presidency has been very trying. And what has happened in the period since the election of 2020 has greatly exacerbated that, yes.
Frank Gaffney says he is discussing the formation of a new party they would call the Great America Party. On one hand, he says the Democratic Party has been taken over by Marxists. And on the other hand, he says the Republican Party isn't properly representing its base.
I think that Americans are anxious for an alternative. Some are discouraged, certainly. Some are feeling very much adrift at the moment. And so the hope here is that we can provide a sense of direction.
But others say the party isn't the problem because the future of the party is in the people's hands. In other words, they have the power to elect the right people for the job. Miguel Moreno, NTD News.